Hey guys, it's Jasmin, and that was Puppy and Alfred. And today we are going to discuss essential oils and cats. And by the way, if you're new here and into cat stuff, especially kitty nutrition and kitty care, as well as things for humans like workouts and nutrition, stress management tips, and just how to lead a healthier, happier life, then make sure to click that subscribe button below because we do put out a new video every cat or day. And if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure to follow our page, Cat Lady Fitness. So let's get right into it and discuss essential oils. And first of all, what they actually are. Essential oils have been around for thousands of years, but have become increasingly popular lately thanks to people who are seeking out more holistic and alternative remedies, and probably also because of the rising popularity of multi-level marketing companies. As for what they actually are, essential oils are aromatic compounds that are extracted from plants, and they're essentially the essence of a plant in a highly concentrated form due to distillation or cold pressing. Essential oils are up to 100 times more potent than the plant that they are extracted from themselves. And if you want to learn more about which plants and flowers are toxic and safe to cats, I have an infographic that I created at catladyfitness.com/safeflowers. And I also have a video in the Cat Stuff playlist sharing a list of those flowers. But it's safe to assume that if a plant or flower is on that toxic list, then the extract or the essential oil that comes from that plant or flower will also be toxic to your cat. If you aren't familiar with essential oils or their usage, they're typically used either topically, or they can be ingested orally, or they can be used for benefits aromatically through smell alone. Specific oils are said to help alleviate specific ailments. And the fact is, there has been a lot of debate on the safety and effectiveness of essential oils for humans as is, but this video is about cats. So let's get into how essential oils can or do affect your cat. Cats are incredibly sensitive to many toxins, especially when compared to other animals, because cats lack the metabolic enzymes in their system in order to break down a lot of these compounds. Just like toxicity of hazardous chemicals in the house or anything else, it's not necessarily due to them directly ingesting it, as in eating it straightforward, but because cats are constantly cleaning themselves and grooming themselves, a lot of the risk comes from the essential oil or any toxin getting on their body and them ingesting it through grooming. So when it comes to essential oils and their delivery systems, this is the culprit for a lot of the toxicity that is reported and that cats get brought into their vet for. But the risk really depends on that delivery system of the essential oil, of which there are quite a few. Essential oil can be used within those incense reeds or even steam diffusers. They are also often in candles or heated diffusers. You may be using essential oil in a personalized diffuser, which can be a necklace pendant that carries it, or even a bracelet. I mean, I will occasionally put essential oil on this lava stone that I happen to wear on one of my bracelets. And there are lots and lots of essential oils in different products that we may use ourselves. For example, lotions and deodorants, and a lot of naturally marketed or organic items that have to do with cleaning your home or with self-care. One of the high risks for your cat to get some of this essential oil on their body, or just to get poisoning from essential oil in the first place, is due to the tipping over or knocking over of those incense reeds or a candle, or even a bottle that perhaps you forgot to close itself, spilling over and then getting on your cat's body. And like I just mentioned before, if your cat grooms themselves and ingests it that way, especially at such a highly concentrated form, that is an incredibly high risk for toxicity. Also, if your cat happens to think your necklace pendant that's a personalized diffuser is a toy, or starts to play with it, or any kind of jewelry that happens to have the purpose of holding essential oil and they ingest that, then that is definitely dangerous as well. But the main culprit most recently for cats to get poisoned or incredibly sick is probably what you would never even think could affect your cat. Yet this also seems to be the number one culprit for cats getting exposure to essential oils and getting incredibly sick or passing from it. I'm talking about active diffusers. These are those nebulizing or ultrasonic diffusers that push out steam into the air of whatever room or area you're in and release micro droplets of the essential oil into the air and therefore into whatever surface that it might touch. If you look up all of these other people's experiences and see these stories, it usually is a case where somebody is using a diffuser on themselves, whether it's to de-stress, whether it's to help them get over a cold. Their cat may be in the room with them. Their cat may be laying on them as they're using it. And the next thing they know, their cat is showing some severe symptoms that something's definitely wrong. Just so you know, the most common symptoms that your cat has had toxic exposure to essential oils are drooling, vomiting, coughing, sneezing, and acting a little bit lethargic and confused. I usually wait till the end of the video to say this, but just make sure if you ever have any concerns that there's anything wrong with your cat, especially something as severe as a toxicity or poisoning, you want to call your vet immediately or just take your cat in as soon as possible. Now, all that being said, you're probably wondering, well, which essential oils are actually toxic to my cat? Are they all toxic? Are there some safe ones? Are there some that are okay? And the hard, honest answer is that it's pretty difficult to definitively list which essential oils are in fact toxic to your cat, since there is such a shortage of public scientific studies on this subject. It would depend on the means and amount of exposure, the quality of a particular oil, and the compounds used in the preparation of it. However, that said, in looking through a ton of resources and different veterinary websites and the ASPCA, as well as some anecdotal sites with people who have had experiences. Here are a handful of essential oils that are widely agreed to be toxic to cats: peppermint oil, tea tree oil, wintergreen oil, birch oil, cinnamon oil, clove oil, eucalyptus oil, most all citrus oils, thyme oil, pennyroyal oil, spruce oil, and oregano oil. Out of all of those, especially the peppermint, tea tree, wintergreen, and eucalyptus are said to be the most dangerous to your cat and that you want to avoid those at all costs. If you do choose to have it in your house, definitely keep it locked up and away from any potential risk that your cat can be exposed to it. As for which oils have been said to be safe, and keep in mind, this is very anecdotal. These are simply considered safe for cats in the vicinity, say if you were to use it on yourself or if your cat was to have some slight exposure. These oils would be frankincense, cedarwood, jasmine, and chamomile. Yes, I say chamomile, not chamomile, because that's how I've said it since I was little. So I'm going to honor that. Now, there were a handful of essential oils, just to give you guys an idea of how new this is and how difficult it is to find definitive information on what is safe and what isn't. Again, it's somewhat relative, but the following oils I found to be on both safe lists and should be avoided at all costs lists. Those essential oils are lemongrass, rosemary, lavender, and clary sage. I have a feeling that these oils aren't as volatile and dangerous as, say, the peppermint or eucalyptus or ones I mentioned before, because these oils in very, very small amounts, again, diluted to a high extent, you will find in certain products that are meant for your cats. Rosemary, for example, I know is used as a preservative in a lot of foods, including treats for cats, and you'll probably see it as the very last ingredient in some more natural treats. So if you were to ask me, these items were probably on both lists because in excess, they would certainly not be good for your cat and they would result in some kind of toxicity symptoms, but in very small amounts, done responsibly and probably by a professional who knows exactly what they're doing in making these products, hopefully, they provide the benefit that they're meant to, and they won't cause any harm to your cat. So all that said, here are some tips on how to navigate essential oils and cats if you still aren't too sure whether you want to use them or not, or how to go about it. Number one, if you do choose to use essential oils from the safe list, is to never, ever use 100% undiluted oil. If you do happen to have some natural products for your cats that use essential oils, you'll also see that the packaging should say they never use more than a 5% maximum amount of the oil in the product because it is heavily diluted. Number two is, if you do get such products, always make sure that they are especially designated for cats. Dogs and cats metabolize certain compounds very, very differently. And some things that are completely safe for your dog could be fatal to your cat. Number three is for you to avoid using diffusers when your cat is around. Or if you really want to be safe, you can avoid using those diffusers in general and aim for a more direct steam approach, like getting a saucepan out, putting some water in it to boil. This is what I do. And putting maybe a drop or two of certain essential oil in it, towel over your head on the table, and then dumping it when you're done. That way, there's no risk of the diffuser blowing steam particles and microparticles of the essential oil on different surfaces that your cat can come in contact with and then groom themselves only to ingest this kind of toxin. Number four is to always have a fragrance-free zone that your cat can retreat to. This room or area should have no fragrances. It shouldn't have any diffusers, any candles, and no air fresheners. For me, it is their catio outside that they have access to through their little kitty door. For you, it might be a room or office in the house, but especially if you are a fan of fragrances and candles and the like I am, then if you have cats, you definitely need to give them that space where they can remove themselves from it all because they are very highly sensitive to such fragrances. Number five is to be mindful of the essential oils that may be in your self-care products or things you use around the house. In making this video, I actually just went through some of my things for a second and found some examples. So this is something I would have never thought of, but this is one of those spray-on natural deodorants. And in the ingredients, there's orange peel oil, but there's also eucalyptus oil and lemon peel oil and rosemary oil. But again, this is a spray, which means that the particles that miss my armpit might get on the floor below me, which puppy happens to love laying at my feet after I get out of the shower. So this is something that I'm definitely going to not use in the same way I was. Another thing I found is tiger balm. If you're not familiar with it, you use it on sore muscles. It's really, really good stuff, really effective, very natural. But in looking at the ingredients, the active ingredients are camphor and menthol. But in the inactive ingredients are cassia oil, clove oil, and mint oil. Usually, oftentimes, I put this on my back. I'll put it on my feet and my legs. But knowing this now, I will still put it on my feet and my legs because oxygen mask theory and self-care, got to take care of mom before you take care of the little fur babies. However, I will also make sure to put some thick socks on and probably even do it before bed, which is typically when I use this, so that my legs are under the covers. There is no exposure to the kitties. And if I do ever happen to correlate with any of this stuff, some kind of reaction in Alfred or puppy, of course, I will take action from there and probably just toss it and call it a day. Another thing I found that I want to point out is natural bug killers. So most of these contain essential oils instead of chemicals. but they also happen to be the essential oils that are on the should be avoided for cats list, including cinnamon oil, clove oil, and geraniol, which was on some of the lists. Again, this is usually sprayed outside on the perimeter or on the corners and edges of the house, and you're supposed to wipe it up afterwards. I've never noticed any adverse reactions in Puppy or Alfred. They don't typically go in the areas where I spray this, but that is something to be aware of. If you do use something like this and have an asthmatic cat or a cat that is allergen sensitive, then you might want to avoid this type of item. And that leads me to my final tip, which is simply to avoid essential oils in your house altogether, mainly the ones that are on the list to be avoided for cats, especially if your cat is allergen sensitive, especially if you have an asthmatic cat. It's probably in your best interest, definitely their best interest, if you check certain things you've been using in the house, even the natural cleansers, even maybe lotions you've used right before your cat cuddles up to you, and see if you can identify the correlation. If your cat always has an asthma attack or a coughing fit after cuddling up with you, try to identify the trigger. That's always key. So anytime your cat is showing some kind of respiratory irritation or some kind of reaction, whether it's coughing, sneezing, anything like that, try and identify what happened right before. Did you get a new air freshener? Did you just spray a fragrance on yourself? Did you get something new that's a natural cleaner to use around the house? You don't have to go nuts and throw away all of your candles and all of your oils and all of your lotions and start over. This isn't about being a neurotic helicopter cat parent. The action you take is totally up to you. If you want to go that route, feel free. But the most important thing is that you are aware of the potential harm here and doing the best you can. I know I'm a broken record with that, but it's really all you can do, the best you can, to make sure that you're being a responsible and mindful kitty parent. All right, guys, I hope you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, please do me a favor and click that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up below, because that helps me know the content that you like to see, and it also helps others get this helpful, useful content in their suggested column. Holy moly, I almost did it again. I almost forgot the Meowt-Out of the week. So it goes to 2 people again this week, and those 2 people are Blair Calvin and Dawn Gale. Thank you guys so much for commenting on the Can Cats Be Vegan video from last week, and for liking the video and just simply engaging and being so supportive and wonderful. I appreciate you so, so much, as do Puppy and Alfred. And for anybody else, if you would like to be at the Meowt-Out of next week's video, all you have to do is like this video and then leave a comment below telling me your favorite part about it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in next week's video. Bye.